Hello, everyone, and welcome to Floorplanner. This is your welcome introduction and demo on this August 30th, 2023. I like to note the date because Floorplanner, not a stagnant program. It keeps evolving and growing and getting better. So I want to give you a point of reference as to when this recording is actually being made for you. So as of today, August 30th, 2023, we're going to run through the entire intro of Floorplanner, get you started. So we're going to start with some PowerPoint presentation, and we're going to go ahead and take my image down so you can see a full screen up there. There we go, and off we go. My name is Bob, in case you didn't know, and I am based here in the United States, although Floorplanner is a European-based platform out of the Netherlands, out of Rotterdam specifically, and being kind of a Dutch company that we are, we're not real big on job titles. So let's just say I'm here for customer success. I'm here to support you all as you learn more about Floorplanner and develop your technique and all about you all. And there's a lot of diversity as to whom you all are as users of Floorplanner. We have well over 30 million registered users of Floorplanner around the world of multiple different careers and industries out there. So, when Floorplanner started, we certainly supported real estate professionals over in the Netherlands and surrounding countries over there. And then interior designers, architects, builders, developers all took notice and realized the value for themselves, retailers, also educators, certainly in the past years where we've all been doing a lot more remote work these days. And again, a lot of diversity as to whom you all are as users of Floorplanner. So here's a little bit of information about me. And as I relate to your individual industries, I've touched base with many of your individual industries over time. I have over 35 years of CAD visualization development experience. I am a licensed architect here in the United States, licensed down in the state of Florida, also in the state of New York. I'm a member of the American Institute of Architects. I specialize in architectural interiors. I've had the privilege of being a guest speaker at Autodesk University, talking about how to utilize different technologies such as Floorplanner to communicate our design intent ideas to others with a baseline of storytelling, the actual communication, how we talk to each other, which is another part of my career path working for the Walt Disney Company, working to develop and design retail locations around the world for their theme parks and for resorts. I've also worked in residential, commercial, retail design, supported the interior design industry here in the United States by managing and directing dedicated CAD departments, groups of CAD specialists, which primarily worked with Autodesk products, AutoCAD, 2D, 3D modeling, visualization, 3ds Max for those really dynamic images, until I found Floorplanner, as you all have found us also. Floorplanner is the answer I was looking for a very long time, because I found, although I love my other softwares, they're all fabulous, they take time. And my clients wanted things a little bit faster. And the clients of the design teams that I worked with all want things quicker. They were all seeing a lot on interior design shows, on TV and such, saying, how do you get that image so quickly? Can't you do that for us? It's like, yes, actually, Floorplanner figured out a great way to kind of marry the CAD, computer aided drafting that we do, and gaming environment of the new technology. And being able to get back those really, really beautiful renderings and images that take me a bit longer to create in other softwares. So high-speed creation and the quality of really, really stunning inspirational images. So much so, I couldn't help but hop right on board and be part of the solution. So here we go, and I'll share with you what I know about Floorplanner. So when Floor Planner started back in 2007. Floor Planner was actually started by, not a surprise to me, architects and civil engineers over in the Netherlands. So I think you can get a sense of the technical side. And we have advanced so much so since 2007 to the point of today, with now being kind of worldwide with over 30 plus million registered users a floor planner. Millions of rendered images out there for sure. And as I mentioned, supporting worldwide. The really unique feature with Floor Planner is it's not just a stagnant program. It's not just what it was when it started in its conception back in 2007. It has evolved and it continues to evolve as technology keeps changing faster and faster. The programmers over in the Netherlands, an incredible team, they take full advantage of the new technologies as they come available and go ahead and implement them in your platform instantaneously. So when you open up your platform, you may be surprised that we have a lot of new features and nothing you have to do to go ahead and have them show up. They're waiting there for you. The diversity inside Floor Planner is broad. You're always building a 3D model in Floor Planner, yet you can view it in 2D. And those images certainly are the basis of our creation. And then beyond, we go all the way to 3D tours, interactive real-time render experiences through hyperlinks. These links of these 3D models actually as 3D tours of videos and interactive real-time renders, also open as virtual reality experience, opening in virtual reality goggles, Oculus goggles, Meta 2 goggles, soon to be Meta 3 goggles. We also have an app out there now, Floorscanner, developed by our floor planner team, which is a free app, which works currently with iPhone, iPads 12, 13, 14 Pro versions to scan your rooms, capturing the actual dimensions, utilizing the cameras on your phone. It's actually a LiDAR scanning device in your devices and creates immediately a 3D model inside Floor Planner that you can then work to do your decor magic on. Really great new way of capturing as-built information of your rooms, areas, architecture that till then, or till now, I've always had to use tape measures and laser measures and graph paper. I think you'll enjoy a lot of these new features as technology goes forward, and certainly the wave of the future. Basics about Floor Planner and how it functions. We are a web-based program, meaning that we're in the cloud. And you don't have to download anything to your devices, which is a wonderful thing. The good news, again, is that you can open on any device. So it doesn't matter if you're working with an Apple-driven device or a Windows-driven device, or if it's a Mac or a PC or a laptop or a tablet or an iPad. As long as you have an internet connection, you are good to go. And you are logging into Floor Planner in the cloud through those devices. Since we're dependent on our internet connection, it's very important that you have a stable internet connection while you're utilizing Floor Planner. And for myself here in the United States, I'm actually broadcasting today from Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. I have found for my geographic location, I work very well with my browser, Google Chrome. Although wherever you are in the world, you can determine what works best for you. There are many browsers, so there's many ways to be connected to the internet, but the strength of your signal and also of what browser you're using for stability makes a big difference. So start with the best environment of a good connection and a good stable browser. From there, the fact that we are web-based, we can go ahead and open up Floor Planner on multiple devices. So I could be working from my home office today as I'm broadcasting using a Windows PC, mouse and keyboard, work on a project, send it out to the cloud, and say, I need to go out and meet with my client now. So I'm not going to drag my computer with me. It's too big. I may want to go ahead and take something other than my Windows PC, my iPad, my Apple iPad, much more convenient. Take an Apple device with me, take it out into the field, connect to the internet, connect to Floorplanner again through my iPad instead, meet with my client on site. All of my images that I created in Floorplanner, my two-dimensional plans, my three-dimensional camera views are all accessible to me because they're cloud-based. And also the project itself that I'm opening as my 3D model. I can communicate with my client. Since I'm on site, I can also take as-built dimensions of the actual property, modify my project file, the model itself, make some changes to it, save it to the cloud, say goodbye to my client, and run back to my home office, open up my Windows-based PC, mouse and keyboard again, log into Floorplanner, and open up that same project and continue working on it. The fact that we're working in the cloud, as I mentioned, we're storing all our projects in the cloud safely and backed up in the cloud. And we also have all the export images that we create. These are the renderings, your two-dimensional plans, and your three-dimensional camera views, which makes it really awesome. Hopping between devices, we no longer have to transfer files using flash drives or external hard drives or try to email some large file from one device to another. Because we're cloud-based, everything is parked in the cloud and accessible no matter which device we happen to be opening at that time. Also being cloud-based, I find this quite important for myself. I have a powerful independent computer that I work with for other softwares, and using the maximum memory RAM of my computer to generate my renderings with other softwares does take time. Some of my other renderings I can take as long as a day, day and a half, 2 days to create a really beautiful single one rendering. It's processing time. Since we're working in the cloud, we're actually working with a huge bank of computers, which gives us more power. And so the rendering time that we're getting back for any of the renderings we're creating of equal and superior quality to what I was generating on my independent computer um, are coming back to me as fast as 20 seconds per image, based on the complexity, certainly, of the image that I'm working with in the model, but very, very fast, which allows me to go ahead and create multiple versions until I get just the right image, which is the final image that I certainly want to have for first impression for my client. Somewhat like magic. How do you get started? Well, you've found me, so I think we're probably doing pretty well. If you want to just learn about Floor Planner and just opened up a free account, opened up a basic account, which is one of our options. It was as simple as your email address and your password, and you were off and running. That was your login using your email address and the created password. You've gone into Floor Planner. You've been able to build models. You've been able to create renderings of your two-dimensional plans, three-dimensional images, etc. There are 6 different subscription levels. Like I said, basic level for free, great place to get started, learn about Floor Planner, see if this is the right fit for you, and then take it further. There is a credit system inside Floor Planner. Of course, a basic account, which is an entry level, does not have any credits. It's a free account, so there's nothing paid for. The credits are the monetary system inside Floor Planner. The other accounts, the other 5 plus up through Enterprise, do go ahead and distribute credits on a monthly, or if it's an annual account, annually. Those credits are used primarily to elevate project levels. No matter what subscription level we are inside Floor Planner, we need to make a determination as to which project level we want it to be. And for the most part, project levels are the final resolution of the image you're creating, the pixel count. How tight and how clean an image do you need to be producing for whatever purpose you're doing for presentation? You're able to make that determination at the start of a project or even during the lifespan of a project. You can always upgrade. And upgrading project levels is, again, one of the primary functions of credits. Beyond what we're talking about today, there's additional training information available to you if you go to floorplanner.com, which is our website, which pretty much so is where you're going in to log in to your Floor Planner account, or if you haven't with us yet, this is where you can open a free account, that basic level account that we talked about. But in here also is a support tab at the very top. There's also product pricing, support, about us as a company. But the support tab I want to concentrate on for just a second, that if you go to support, you gain all this additional training information in addition to these live webinars. So in the support tab, when you hit support, you have access in here and a link to the Floor Planner channel on YouTube, which is where our recorded videos are housed. And we are working on updating them as this recording is. So you'll have more and more information that you can take at your own pace and review recorded videos through that Floor Planner channel on YouTube. There is also a link in here for those product updates that I talked about earlier that Floor Planner does keep evolving. And you can see these actually posted on your desktop when you open up your Floor Planner account. They're listed on the right-hand side. But if you wanted to just go to the entire listing of all product updates in the past year, you can go to this link right here. It'll open up another window and you can scroll through. They're very quick little video clips, just enough to explain to you what was new. So if you think you missed something along the way, take a look. It's very, very inspirational. And in the lower left-hand corner, we got a reference manual, but we call it an editor manual. It's a PDF document. We do update this pretty much so annually. So it may look just a little different than the current user interface, but the information is excellent. It's a nice document, about 70, 80 pages long, color images, simple, easy read, PDF format to download, easy to print. There's at least one page inside this document. I do want to make sure you download and print it. There is a shortcut hotkey page that having that one sheet printed while you're developing your technique in Floor Planner will be very valuable to you. There's some great simple keystrokes on your keyboard that will speed up your technique and make you more comfortable as you're utilizing Floor Planner. The weekly live webinars. Yes, you found me, obviously this one, but this is the recording for the YouTube channel. But much like what we're doing today, we do conduct live webinars on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. There would be an introduction webinar, much like what we're doing today. There's also an advanced tools webinar, a little bit more to show you how to utilize the tools in Floor Planner for more complex architectures and trims and detailing. And there's a real special webinar on Wednesdays that we offer currently every other week that is dedicated to talk about just 2D and 3D camera settings to help you make more photorealistic magazine quality images with just some tips and tricks on technique to take advantage or full advantage of the quality image that comes out of Floor Planner and its rendering, but help you set those cameras so they take on more of that magazine quality. Floor Planner, you are never dead-ended in Floor Planner. There's always been and still is a mode for help. And there is a contact form. You can hit the contact us button and it'll take you to a simplistic little form to fill out. And that form will just be your name, your email address, and give you the opportunity just to type in your question, maybe at a technical concern for some reason, or an observation of possibly a lamp that didn't illuminate. Certainly, you can send a message. This message will go straight away to the support team over in the Netherlands. And I think you will find Floor Planner is an extremely responsive company. We'll get a message back to you. Cool thing about the support team over in the Netherlands and myself here in the United States, I'm here for more training type questions, but we have direct lines of communication to the programmers. And so if you get a question to myself or to the support team, we will certainly get it in the hands of the programmer that's going to get us an answer, and also put it right in the hands of anybody that needs to address any of your observations. So again, I think we'll probably be taking care of whatever you're asking for before we are even replying to you. But again, I think you'll find Floorplanner is an incredibly responsive company. Here's a screenshot real quick of the contact us form. Very simple. Your name, email address, if you happen to have a company, an email address of your company, general topic of your question, and your question, just requesting that that question be written in English or in Dutch, and hit send, and you're off and running. And here's a screenshot of what the cover page looks like for that manual, editor manual, reference manual, the PDF document that I'm asking you to go ahead and download also. Here's a screenshot of my desktop as you open up Floorplanner, what it looks like. Your opening page is your dashboard key in the upper left-hand corner. When it is selected, you're going to have a profile tab over here that tells you all about you. Here's all about me. The profile tab, if you happen to be a sub-user of a group of users in your account of Floorplanner, this is just your individual information. And also, when the dashboard tab is selected, you gain the right-hand sidebar. Right-hand sidebar has a lot of information in there, and starting with the upper right-hand corner is the registration for the live webinars. There's radio buttons at the bottom. You can toggle between the intro, advanced tools, and that infamous 2D, 3D render tips on Wednesdays. And hit the join button, and it will take you to the zoom.us registration for webinars. That registration form also has the ability to put comments in it. So if you have some specific questions, I do review those questions prior to every live webinar, and gives me some insight as to what you're looking for specifically, and we can tack that into our presentations. Next down, as I mentioned, you already saw the link to the additional new updates. Well, here's the same link. If you hit the More button over here under New Features, it'll take you to the same link of posting all the advances that have occurred in the past year, or the most current advance will be posted at the top, and you can go ahead and scroll through them here. Then there's some nice examples down here. This is the link to Instagram. Certainly with over 30 million registered users of Floorplanner, there's a lot of beautiful images that are being created, and here some of them are shared. It's always fun to see what others are doing utilizing Floorplanner, and certainly to be inspired by their techniques. I'm certainly inspired to see what you all are doing. And also down the lower right-hand corner, there's the More On button under Featured Videos, but the More On button will take you to the same link that we had through support to the Floorplanner channel on YouTube. And this one featured video down here is something we do on a monthly basis to go ahead and make a short video, maybe about 20 minutes long at the length, at the longest that it could possibly be. And I actually make this video to talk about the new features that were introduced in the previous month. So yeah, they're being posted up here, very nice, and these video clips are great by the programmers, but I'll actually make a little video clip to show you how to utilize and how to actually use these new features. So again, with all this information, we're trying to make sure you are always informed as to what's new and how to use it. Also, while the dashboard is selected, you'll notice that you're going to go ahead and have your actual projects will be listed on the page. You're also going to have access to any of your exports on the page, and also any of the style boards that you've created. This is also, as your home page, the proper location to log out of your Floorplanner account in the upper right-hand corner for log out. As I mentioned, yes, we have the live webinars, and there is the intro webinar, the advanced tools webinar, and the 2D, 3D export settings. And of course, I just showed you where to find those. And the subscriptions. There are 6 levels of subscription inside Floorplanner. There's for a single one-person user, and again, this information is completely available through the pricing tab at this floorplanner.com as you go to our website. When you go through pricing and you hit the individuals for a single one-person user to an account, the options are as a basic, plus, or pro account. You can change your currency over here if you need to go to euros or United States dollars, or if you don't look at a monthly plan or an annual plan. So a basic account, it's free. And here's the sign up for free button, and you're off and running. If you want to go a little higher, you can go up to a plus account, and you can see the features that are gained there. If you're a single user and you're utilizing Floorplanner, for your business or professional purposes, I'm going to recommend you always take a look at the Pro account. I think you'll find for its cost and the benefits and the reduced fare for the actual credit expense, this is my preferred subscription level as a single one user, because there's also branding in here. There's the ability to custom watermark your documents that you're creating with your company logo. You can put title blocks as branding on your two-dimensional images. There's a lot of additional features that you would find of value, certainly, to be utilizing for professional purposes. If you happen to be multiple users on an account, the remaining three subscription levels are Teams, Business, and Enterprise accounts. Again, just switch out your button up here to Teams for multiple users, and again, USA or Euros or monthly or annual. And here, a Teams account will go up to 10 individual users on the account. Business accounts will go up to 100 users on the account. And enterprise accounts will be unlimited users on the account. The additional features, as they're noted inside here, everything in here is certainly starting with the pro level that we just had previously, but now being a group, you're going to have within your company an administrator, and that administrator will be able to manage the entire account of other users, and also reports will be generated for the usage of the account. Business accounts, you gain additional features, and there's something very unique about business and enterprise accounts. Business and enterprise accounts are the only two subscription levels that can actually contract with Floorplanner to either host a 3D model piece that was created by others, or we can go ahead and we have an incredible team of modelers. We could go ahead and actually build any furniture or object in 3D and then go ahead and host it so that you can utilize it on your platform. Neat feature of these business and enterprise accounts, which are corporate accounts, major retailers and manufacturers and vendors have been joining Floorplanner. And many of us in the Floorplanner community have access to all of these new brands and vendors that are coming on board. They are, it's a great marketing venue for the business and enterprise accounts, because they are certainly sharing their 3D models with the Floorplanner community, but there's also a view store button that comes up with these items, which will take you to a website to go ahead and get all the technical data, all the spec information about that object, including e-commerce of how to purchase those items. So it's beneficial all around. It's a great marketing endeavor for the business enterprise accounts, and wonderful for Floorplanner to be able to have the access to these real model pieces as they're live in the world. And you also find that those branded items, those objects, also have great opportunities for they change fabrics, and you also have finishes that you can change on those items if that was specified by the original retailer or manufacturer. Additional benefits in there, but again, you can read through these for sure. Those are the 6 different levels of subscriptions that are out there. No matter what subscription level you are in Floorplanner, we all, including myself, we need to make a decision when we start a brand new project for a client. That project file that we're going to create has to be at a certain level of some sort. It's either an SD Lite, an SD, an HD, a 4K, or an 8K. Let's talk about SD Lites for a second. SD Lites, yeah, they're free projects for the free account, which is your basic account as an introduction to Floorplanner. They have their limitations. Certainly, you have a lot that you can generate functionally with them. SD lights, again, accessible only as basic account holders or plus account holders. The free nature of it, the limits to an SD light project, will allow you to only build one floor, one story of a multi-story, three-dimensional project. You can also build only one design per any one project that you create. Your exports, you're always building a 3D model. Your exports as a 2D version of your 3D model, your only option will be as a JPEG export for the two-dimensional document, scale to fit on an 8.5 by 11 letter size sheet. The resolution will be okay. We can do better for sure. And there's also going to be posted on there a watermark, which will be our Floorplanner company watermark on your documents as you create them. So again, some limitations there for sure. When you start as an SD level project, this is the first paid for project level, which is the default. You'll be starting as an SD level project if you're a pro account subscription up to an enterprise account subscription, and then have the options to elevate your project further to HD, 4K, and 8K. But the crossover into an SD, everything I'm about to mention also applies to HD, 4K, and 8K. As a paid for SD project, you can go ahead now and build up to 7 stories, 7 floors of a multi-story project. Plus, you can, I think more importantly than even the multiple floors, you can build multiple designs. So if you built one room and furnished it, or you built multiple rooms on a single floor and furnished them all, and you made your presentation to your client, and the client says, these are wonderful, this is great, but could you just show me a couple options? Yes, in Floorplanner with an SD level project or higher, you can duplicate the original design that you've created with your furnishings and decor, duplicate it, rename it, and then change the furniture selections in the duplicate. You can go ahead and change the layout, the actual space planning. You can change the finishes on the walls and materials. You can go ahead and even change the architecture. And then you could go back to the original design and make another duplicate of it and call it option 3 and do it again. You can do this up to 10 different designs per every floor of your project. So if you can build up to 7 stories and you got 10 different design options per floor, 70 options, quite a few options for your client, maybe too many. Yet there's also other reasons that we talk about when we talk about camera settings and such, where it's very beneficial to have these options to create duplicates of your original design. So any of the changes or modifications that you make do not corrupt or damage your original design, because you're just working in duplicate designs. This SD level project, now when you take your 3D model and you want to send out your furniture floor plan or a two-dimensional image, 2D plan, you can now you're not limited to just the JPEG image or the JPEG image scale to fit on a document. You can now have a new option to export as a PDF. As a PDF, it's not just a PDF. The PDF, number one, has really nice resolution to it, nice pixel count. It's a good clear image. Plus, as a PDF, you can change the layout sheet size. So you can change the layout sheet size from 8.5 by 11 letter size sheet, an 11 by 17 ledger size sheet, an 18-inch by 24-inch architectural C size sheet. It's a plotter size, or even larger, an architectural D size sheet, which is a 24-inch by 36-inch page. You can generate these two-dimensional documents as scale to fit, as we did before. You can also send them out to scale. I'm going to be talking, I'm sorry, in imperial dimensions here. You can send them out as a 16th inch equals a foot, or an 1/8 inch equals a foot, very small, or our interior design favorite here in the United States have standard 1/4 inch equals a foot, or even larger as a 1/2 inch equals a foot. You can also request to have these generate a scaling block on the document, an architectural scaling block, so that when the PDF is created and you send it to your actual device, be it a plotter or a printer, you can then take a measurable scale, take a physical scale to your document and measure that scaling block just to make sure that your device and your printer or plotter, that the two are in sync and communicating properly with each other to make sure you have a nice, properly scaled document. You also have the ability with these SD and higher project levels, you can download a copy of your project from the cloud to the device you're working on as an FML file format. If you're not familiar with FML file formats, that file format is unique to Floorplanner, and it only opens in Floorplanner. Not a huge reason to do this because you have your projects all stored in the cloud, safely in the cloud, backed up in the cloud, and because they're in the cloud, they're accessible on all devices. But if for some reason you wanted a copy of it from the cloud, you could download it as an FML file format. You can also, as you're building a 3D model in the cloud, you can download a copy of it as a DXF file. This you might be more familiar with. DXF files open in other softwares, certainly in Autodesk, AutoCAD. What you're going to get of your 3D model in Floorplanner is you're going to get a two-dimensional vector line plan of your two-dimensional structural image of your 3D model, which again, it's a nice way to get that, at least that much information out of Floorplanner and be able to exchange it with another platform. The only difference between an SD, HD, 4K, and 8K, beyond the entire list that I just mentioned, is the final image resolution, the image that you're creating, the pixel count. You can see them noted right here as they increase. We have found from our experience in the past years is that many of the top 100 retailers here in the US have chosen to make better quality presentations for their clients, and they like to make those first impressions the best. So HD, because of its resolution, and knowing that our clients like to zoom in on images and such, yeah, HD has been a very favored project level for client presentations for sure. When you need something higher, maybe you're working with a large flat screen monitor in your showroom and you're zooming in on details or your client has access to the file, you might want to consider a 4K because the resolution is superior and certainly is going to look cleaner and sharper. 8K, yes, marketing purposes, when you really need the publication resolution levels. Certainly for our websites and for any of our marketing purposes or even resume purposes, or if you just really want the best quality image, go for the 8K render. That's certainly an incredibly high pixel count. There is no difference between this SD, HD, 4K, 8K in the fact that they are all photorealistic images generated by our Blender rendering engine, but it is the pixel count. There is definitely a pixel count difference. You can elevate a project after its conception. After you've started a project, you can choose, if you started as an HD project and say, I needed it for higher level purposes, you can always elevate it in the future to an 8K project. It's not like other softwares where you have to start at the highest resolution and go backwards. You can start at the lower resolution and also in the future edit that file and update it, upgrade it to a higher level. Even basic users out there, as I mentioned, basic accounts that have no credits to go ahead and elevate to an SD level project, there is a pay-as-you-go. So if you try to elevate your project, it's an SD Lite, it'll take you to another window where you can purchase the first minimal, I think it's like 5 credits. And you could also go ahead and upgrade a project to an SD level, take advantage of all those features that I was just noting. Just a quick visual of the fact that yes, there is no difference between the SD through 8K, that they are all equally photorealistic, just the difference of resolution. Starting a project, when you're actually on your dashboard and you create a brand new project, as I mentioned, with the basic users or plus users accounts, you have that option out there for the SD Lite. All those limitations that I spoke about are noted over here on the left-hand sidebar. And there's that purchasing information that also will come available, that if you are a basic or plus account, how you can purchase credits to continue working and elevating projects as we've just described for the different project levels. But if we're starting as a pro account or higher, pro up through enterprise accounts, yes, SD, HD, 4K, 8K, wherever do you want to start your project? And of course, you'll have credits on board and you'll be deducting credits every time you start a project. 2 credits, if you're trying to do the math on it, since we are worldwide and we have all different currencies that we're talking about, I'm going to say that 2 credits are by far anywhere much less than a cup of coffee, certainly much less than a cup of coffee here in the United States. So if that puts a little bit of a feel on it so you can understand where that is. Credits also do become more cost effective as you increase your subscription level. So the where you start as a basic user with a credit expense, that diminishes as you approach enterprise accounts. So you can actually save a lot of money as you elevate your subscription level. You'll notice also there is a la carte add-on to a project. So not just selecting which project level you want to start at, but you also have a little button over here for enabling 3D tours. This is an additional 5 credits if you check that box to be added to this project expense. It's a one-time fee. And this is when your 3D model is actually sent out into the cloud and you have the ability to request a 3D tour. A 3D tour will give you back not a JPEG, not a PNG. It's going to give you back a hyperlink that has no weight to it. It's a link that can be shared with your intended viewer. They can open it up as long as they're connected to the internet on their phone, on their iPad, their tablet, their computer, using a mouse, a keyboard, a stylus, an Apple Pencil, a finger. Yes, you can give your client access to your 3D model in the cloud where they can tour around freely inside your space, look around, look up, down, travel from room to room, and explore the design that you've created. They cannot change or edit your actual project, but they can view it. And how they're viewing it, they're viewing it in real-time render. This is phenomenal. It's not a cartoon. It's that gaming environment that I spoke of earlier. So being an architect myself, I don't usually like to give that much control to my client. I'd like to show my property the way I'd like you to see it. So the camera views that you created will also transfer with that link in a pull-down menu. So the client can just pull down and go to the selected views as you've named them and see exactly the way you wanted to show your property. Plus, there's a play button in there. This is a video 3D tour. So we get a video out of it. If you hit the video button, you just sit back, hands-free, and watch. It will tour through the entire environment in a real-time render experience. And it's directed by you. It's directed by you as the cameras that you created and the order that you place them so that you will tell the story. Floorplanner does the rest of the work. Floorplanner will do all the animation between all those camera views. Plus, you can create as many 3D tours for that one fee as you care to. So if you wanted to change the story, just go ahead and change the camera views, change the order, change the story, send it out to the cloud and get a different hyperlink and share that one. You pretty much still have unlimited opportunities here to continue for the same project, to go ahead and create multiple 3D tours, multiple hyperlinks to share with your clients. These hyperlinks also open in virtual reality goggles. There'll be your Oculus goggles, Meta 2, Meta 3 in the future goggles. Yes, you can be fully immersed inside this 3D environment that you created through the 3D tours. Additionally, as you're creating your project with all these features you're determining at the very start on your project, you can go ahead and place the name of your project up here. If you're working for a company, you may have a naming structure, or I would at least have your client's name up here so you can find the file again, because you may be saving these files for days, weeks, years. So it's nice to be able to locate them again, for sure. Pro accounts and higher levels of accounts, subscriptions, you can create templates, branding, multiple templates for multiple reasons, logos, branding, watermarks, title blocks, etc. And you can choose which template you want to assign to this project. Also, you can add the address of the specific project where it's located, which certainly will come in handy for you for a long-term reference. Um, you don't have to add an address to start a project, but you can always go back and edit it and keep that in there. So, like I said, down the road, you may like to know where that project was based. And once we've completed all this additional information up here, we hit Start Project. It deducts my per an SD level project 2 credits, and we're off and running. Yet, you can always upgrade a project. In the background, I have kind of a grayed out area here of my projects. And if I left click on one of my projects, I'll gain a left-hand sidebar. Left-hand sidebar over there, one of my selections is edit and upgrade the existing project, which will give me this window. So it's an edit details window. So looks familiar, but this is actually editing an existing window. So I could go ahead and SD, HD, 4K. I could upgrade the project now to a higher level, or add a 3D tour later if I wanted to, or I misspelled the client's name wrong. Oops, and I chose to make it correct, or add an address later, or change the template for some reason. All these opportunities, and then just hit update project. Remember, we are working in the cloud. Very important to update, communicate off of your device to the cloud, any of these changes. Very important. The quality of these images, this is a very casual presentation. I just dragged some pieces of furniture in here just to impress that the intensity of the photorealism with the Blender rendering engine that we function with now is stunning. Certainly this is an incomplete design, but I think you kind of get the feel for the quality. This certainly impresses me. This is the type of work I was doing with other softwares that took, much longer time and much longer rendering times to get the same result. And you can do this inside Floorplanner with ease. Introduction, 2D floor plan gallery of options. Hey, you're always building a 3D model in Floorplanner, yet you can view that 3D model in 2D, and you have options for how you want to view that 2D image. Starting with, it's kind of fun. It's a blueprint mode, a little retro looking, if you will. If this is something you'd like to have some fun with and utilize this, it's available. Although I do prefer the black line drawing. It's, I think, more professional. Black line, solid post shade, hatched walls, clean, concise, accurate as you tell it to be. So think about where you're getting your dimensions. Did you physically go out to this property and measure it yourself? Did you take this from a plan, an architectural plan that was planned to be built? Did you by any chance get a set of documents from your architect that are stamped as built documents, meaning that the architect went back, remeasured the property, created a whole new set of documents on the new as-built information as the building was built, and stamped them as built? So you've got the best information at one point in time. Or did you get a marketing sheet? Maybe your client went to a property developer down the street, and they had little 8.5 by 11 marketing sheets, and they brought it in and said, look, I have the floor plan. It's a marketing sheet. Be careful. If that's the best information you have, then that's what you're working with. Or your client talked to you on the phone and kind of gave you their take on what they think the size of your room is. So when you draft it, it's going to look accurate as accurate as you tell it to be. So try to get the best information up front. It'll cause you less grief in the long run, but always know that as you gain additional better information, you can always modify this and make it still better. The rooms and areas that you create and actually draft do not know what they are until you tell them what they are. These are called room types. I can click inside any of these empty spaces and you'll get a left-hand sidebar. And one of the selection modes over there is room type. It'll say room type unknown. And a pull-down menu, you can assign what that room type is. Is it a living room? Is it a bedroom? Is it a dining room? Is it a kitchen, etc.? You can also change the text on these rooms to be customized. You could change it to, yes, it knows it's a bedroom, but you could say it's Susan's bedroom or primary bedroom, etc. These room type assignments, once complete, also have by default a little intelligence. They have color blocking systems with them that each one has a default set of colors that you can do a color blocked presentation. You can also tell the rooms to showcase their square footage area calculations. Floorplanner will calculate that for you, and they can post inside the rooms. There's also a setting in your 2D settings tab to choose to show the interior design dimensions, which will be the running feet of the lengths of the walls for cost estimating purposes. But that color blocking system, by example, this is another option. Just these are nothing but turning on and off a toggle switch or selecting an icon on your screen. There's nothing complicated to make this happen. You just select that this is what you want to show on your screen. And this is the result based on the room types. The three-dimensional furniture items that you have, oh, we have over 220,000 general categorized generic pieces, which would be three-dimensional items of furniture objects, accessories, lamps, rugs, artwork, draperies, unicorns, puppy dogs, T-Rexes. There is quite a library, a lot of fun. So have fun shopping. There's a lot to choose from. Cool thing with the general library inside Floor Planner, these have gone more generics of the categories. These items have a unique ability to change their dimensions. You can change the width, depth, and height of the 3D models. This comes in handy when you're working with clients' existing furniture or you're trying to find something that maybe you don't have specifically, but you can find something that looks similar to either client's existing or maybe what you're specifying, and then change it to be the exact dimensions, width, depth, and height of your client's existing furniture or the exact dimensions of what you are choosing to specify. When you've dragged and dropped these items inside your model and you're viewing them in 2D, one way to view it is this black line wireframe drawing. Very architectural. This is my preference. They're clean, they're organized, scalable. Great documents. Or you can showcase the materials. Any of the materials you've applied to the flooring or materials that you had options to change variants or colors on the actual objects or furniture items. And this will show as a two-dimensional document with materials. This is still a scalable document, nice for presentation. Yet when you hop out of 2D and you go to 3D, wow, you are looking at a dollhouse view, looking down in perspective, from a bird's eye view looking down. These are awesome. These are rendered beautifully. They're very impressive. Clients love them. They're very dynamic. Clients understand them more so than a flat two-dimensional plan. They obviously give you a lot more information to understand what you're looking at. These are no longer scalable documents. Obviously, they're in perspective, but beautiful for presentations. This condo building that I'm talking about and showcasing here is real. It's a real condo down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Looking out over the Atlantic Ocean, 11th story condo, beautiful location, beautiful views. Let's say you were working with a floor plan and you placed your furniture in there through Floorplanner and you did your space planning. You selected which pieces of furniture and their adjacencies and clearances in between the items, and you did your magic as a designer. And a 2D representation of the room. Great. What does it look like? What does it look like when you stand in that room and look across the way when you consider the height of each one of those pieces as they relate to each other, or even the interior design decor of those pieces, the style of those pieces? Do they conflict with each other? Were they good selections? What's it feel like when you visualize it in 3D? You can place as many camera views as you would like inside your 3D model. So I'm standing in that same model from my kitchen, which is open to their dining room to living room to balcony, balcony to the ocean, and start doing studies. These are preview images. You can do as many preview images as you like. These will be your studies. This is an added value for your client that you're living their space and trying different options until getting it just right. If you're working with a team of designers, this is your communication tool between and amongst yourselves. If you're not working with a team or mean with the team, these presentation elements, these preview images are your communication to your client as conceptual work along the way, progress images. So to make sure that you and your client are on the same page, that the design is going the right direction, and we certainly know where we're going. Once you start rendering these images, you start getting more of the photorealistic properties showing. The mirrors start reflect, metals reflect, glass reflecting, lights and lamps are all illuminating, radiating light. They can all be turned on and off independently of each other. They all have dimmer switches on them independently, so you can set the feeling or the mood inside the room. The sun can also be changed in its height in the sky to be morning, sunrise, sunset, evening. You can change the angle of the sun in the sky. You can change the direction of the sun as to which direction it's coming from. If you happen to know that with your client's property, you will certainly impress them. If you don't, then I would say exaggerate it and make sure you're using the sun, because the sun mixed with the artificial light in the room will certainly make for a beautiful, realistic looking image. The views outside the windows, you have a gallery of images for outside the window through Floorplanner. There's some new ones out there. They're beautiful. They also have a horizon line in there that Floorplanner will automatically place properly. And as a fact of nature, horizon lines, no matter what floor of a building that you're on, will always follow your eye level. So your eye level is your camera height that you're setting for your image, and Floorplanner will address that instantaneously with the gallery images that'll be created. Yet, fair to say that that view does not look like the Atlantic Ocean. So yes, you can upload your own JPEG PNG image of the actual view. I did stand on that balcony and took the shot. It was a beautiful South Florida sunny day. Uploaded that image from my phone to my computer, and then shared it with the camera view inside Floorplanner and applied it outside this image, and rendered beautifully. For those of you that are real estate professionals out there, yes, this is a very honest and very truthful image. Sorry to say that, yes, that big, tall, white building out there is doing a partial block of the gorgeous view to the ocean, but it is truthful and honest, and it is, you notice that when you get the more realistic image outside, number one, you impress your client. Number two, it certainly starts allowing the interior to take on even more realism, because you're truly believing the image that's out there, and you can adjust your light levels accordingly to start turning these into evening and night scenes and tweak your light levels accordingly. Quality, I can't say enough. The quality of these images that we are generating, and the speed at which you're making decisions and re-rendering, tweaking light levels, angles, just to get just the right feel. Images are fabulous. Just can't beat them. This is that 3D tour mentality that I explained pretty much so in depth before. I'll just take a moment since I've probably exhausted myself telling you all about it. I'll show you a link real quick. I'm going to go ahead and open up this hyperlink up here. Remember, 3D tour creates a hyperlink. I just happen to embed it, this address, inside this PowerPoint presentation. Just open it up. It'll come up with a cover page that you can have set with your logo, and it opens up. We're actually inside this project in the cloud right now, real-time render, and I can navigate around inside of it. So I'm using a mouse and keyboard. You could do this on your phone. You could do this on a tablet, iPad, but this is on a mouse and keyboard. I'm just going to go ahead and use my mouse to click on another spot to navigate to and teleport myself across the room and use my mouse to look up and down and start looking around the room in this real-time rendered environment, a gaming environment. Just start going into the kitchen, dining room, and just start looking around at a fully rendered space. And we could even go out on the balcony if we cared to, etc. Yeah, and as I mentioned, that was the free reign of the room. You can, through the camera views up here, select the dedicated camera view that you created, which you could have custom named also, to go to a specific view, or hit the play button up here. And with no hands, you're just going to go ahead and allow this to play out to tell the story and actually take you on a 3D tour of this property just through a hyperlink with no problem. And you can stop that just by clicking the button again. And we're going to go ahead and exit this, but don't forget this would certainly go ahead and have the ability to open in a set of Oculus goggles to do a full virtual reality experience. Just want you to get a hint of what that's all about. Floorscanner, let's just take a moment, before we get into our live demonstration today, is that this is a new app that Floorplanner developed in conjunction with the advantage of iPhones and Apple products. iPhones and iPads 12, 13, 14 Pro versions have a little added caveat to their cameras. There's actually a LiDAR scanning device in your hardware, if you didn't know. And that was placed there so that programmers could develop platforms to utilize it. Well, Floorplanner did, and we developed Floorscanner. Floorscanner is a free app. You can put this on your device. It has to be one of these devices currently, although we are working on developing for possible non-LiDAR devices. But for right now, this is the limitation. And get the app, free app, looks like this. And you can go ahead and open it on your phone, take your phone through that app, and literally point your camera around the room, and it will scan the room, measure it, it will calculate the information, and it will create a 3D model inside Floorplanner. It's capturing your as-built dimensions with ease and creating the project ready for you to go and start decorating and taking the design opportunities to furnish and colorize that particular room. I do like to emphasize that there is this really cool option in Floorscanner called single room for free. I like free. The app is free. The single room for free is free. If you do multiple rooms of a single floor, there is a cost associated with it and it takes a little time to have this generated for you. Single room for free is one room for free, which is great. And it comes back instantaneously. You don't have to wait for it. So that model is waiting for you inside your Floorplanner platform as soon as you are finished. So let's go for single room for free. And I did a little recording of my phone. I did not edit this video at all. This video is real time, is exactly as it happens. Didn't speed it up, didn't slow it down, didn't crop it. So you'll see how fast this is. So you're actually looking at my phone. It's an iPhone 13 Pro. And I put the Floorscanner app on it. And I opened up Floorscanner. And this is what happened. So hit play. When it opened up, there's my account. And I typed single room for free. And I hit the start scanning button. It's a bedroom. And I just started pointing my phone with the camera around. And magically, through the magic of Apple for sure, we are capturing the size of the room, floor, ceiling height. It's making assumptions on the furniture, figuring, well, what are those pieces? What's their sizes? Not so concerned about the fact that it's capturing the furniture. I'm more concerned that it's capturing the room, the doors, the windows, ceiling, floor, all these wonderful things that I would have had to move the furniture, clean up the room to take these dimensions. It's doing this with ease. When we're complete, say, hey, am I done? You hit the stop scanning button and you've got the model on your phone. You can use your finger and twirl around just to make sure you captured everything and it all looks good. If it looks good, you hit the looks great button. If it doesn't look great, you hit the rescan button, but it looked great. We did good. Here's the magic. Still on my phone. Yes, it's opening my Floorplanner account on my phone. There it is. The model's built. It is finished, completely done. We can do it in black and white line drawing, drawing with materials. We can do it in 2D. We can do it in 3D. We can twirl around inside of it on our finger on our phone. And we can still do more. So it's a bedroom. Okay. Well, what if we wanted to say, well, I'm still on my phone. I want to change it to a different room type. So these days, when a lot of people are taking their bedrooms and turning them into home offices. So again, still on my phone, I could say, let's change the room type to something else. And there's also collections of furnitures called room styles that you can create based on room types or our style boards. And you can assign one. So I said, I want to make you a home office and I'll pick a collection I've already predetermined. Pick the collection, use it, and hit the magic layout button in the center, and it will change that bedroom into a home office, populates it with the collection of furniture that I've created previously and wanted to reuse it in an empty room. There it is. The furniture was placed based on the size of this room, based on algorithms, not really artificial intelligent interior design algorithms, basic information. A chair goes behind a desk, a plant goes on the other side, a console goes behind it. It has some logic to it, not not perfect. It's not like I said, it's not artificial intelligent design driven. It's not going to displace or replace any interior designer, but it's a great, fast starting point to put an entire collection in there. Again, I could have stopped at any point along the way here and just said, I'm just going to close out my phone, say goodbye to my client, go back to my home office, open up my Floorplanner account on my tablet or on my computer. And this project is waiting as it is, ready to go. I can then delete items out of there, add from other collections, continue doing the decor. The model's done. Room totally captured. I did go back to the physical room and remeasured this because being an architect, I wanted to see the accuracy on this. And this particular example was within a half an inch, which was perfectly fine for me. Although, of course, you know, with Floorplanner, we could have moved the walls accordingly to regain that missed half an inch if I cared to. I think you're going to find this is the wave of the future. Certainly my old school way of taking graph paper, a pencil, a tape measure, possibly a laser measure, and hopefully somebody with me to write down the dimensions. It takes a long time to do an as-built measure in a location. This is quite high speed and quite accurate. Style boards. I kind of touched on this just for a second there. Style boards have come out in the past few months. Style boards are like mood boards that you would do in any sort of preliminary presentation with the client, like you would do in a PowerPoint presentation or other platforms for a slideshow. You're going to put a wood sample of the flooring, a paint sample. If you had certain images of the furniture, like cut out from magazines and such, and you know, paste them and glue them. We're doing it electronically, of course. You can do this inside Floorplanner. And what's even more fun is that the furniture pieces in Floorplanner are 3D models. So you can change the images. You know, if you wanted the top view or the side view was more impressive, or the angle, and or even distorting the images to try to make compositions together, maybe give it a little bend or just a little modification like you would do in Photoshop or other softwares. You can make adjustments and just create a mood board presentation. You can add text to it and little symbols and hearts and things. Um, Make it as you want it to be. What's awesome about these style boards, yes, it is a mood board presentation. You can now add intelligence to this. You can actually select the sofa and tell it its role. You can tell it that it is a sofa. You can select the coffee table and tell it you are a coffee table. This comes into that ability for the magic layout to know what they are, and then the algorithms as to how to place items like a coffee table is a certain distance in front of a sofa. A side table is on the end of the sofa, etc. It's going to make some assumptions based on algorithms. So this collection has a board, yes, and you have it still in your library as a board that worked for a client in a certain style or something you preferred, or as if you're an enterprise account out there, you doing this for your entire company, you may have specific vignettes of your furnishings that you want to keep as a preset area to be a certain composition. You can draft any new room for a new client and take a style board and literally drag the board into the center of the empty room, and it'll populate the room through the magic layout. And you just pull from different collections, keep trying different collections in the same room. Move the items around thereafter, or delete items, or add from other collections. It's a starting point, a very fast starting point. So style boards are not just mood boards anymore. Don't forget that 2D, 3D editor page that I wanted to talk about for the shortcuts and hotkeys in that editor document out there, the editor manual. So this is just a little snapshot of what you have yet to see. Something extra. If we have a little time at the very end, see if I can tuck this in there. I want to go ahead and showcase what came out quietly about a year ago, where you can actually upload your own materials to apply to wall surfaces. Of course, fashion keeps changing. Wallpapers get discontinued on a minute by minute basis and introduce new wallpapers and new murals and new images, and fashion changes. You can upload your own JPEG PNG image of anything. Wallpapers, client's artwork, a mural, wainscoting, trim, architectural features. Yes, if you have an image of it, you can upload it into your collection, and you can go ahead and select a wall in plan, go to the front view of that wall, and you can select one of these images and apply it, or this wallpaper, just apply it to this wall. Repeat it, scale it, and you're done. You're not limited to just the library of materials inside Floorplanner. For wall surfaces, you can customize with any JPEG, PNG image that you might have. So let's take this down for a second and go right into the Floorplanner platform. Welcome. I am an enterprise account, not that different than anyone else's out there. So it shouldn't look too foreign to you. I'm over here on the left-hand side for the projects tab. And when you're in the projects tab, you're seeing all of my projects out there. Of course, there are pull downs over here in the upper right-hand corner of ways you might want to be viewing and shopping for different projects, or doing a search for a specific name. We're going to build a project from scratch. So let's go ahead and hit the Create Project tab up here to start a brand new project. And we're going to go out into the cloud and make some decisions. This is the window we saw previously. So yes, pull down menu. Am I going to make it an SD, HD, 4K, or 8K? What project level do I want it to be? My preference would be an HD level project. And I think it's a little early for me to determine if it's going to be really that fabulous that I'm going to put a 3D tour to it, but you could, or do it later. I'm certainly going to name it. I'm going to call it Robert today, just to give it a name. And we could put an address, don't have to. Could do a template, don't have to. If you're an enterprise account out there working for your business, yes, you're going to have to, because your company has already discerned and determined what you should be doing for your branding. But for my sake, HD, give it a name, no address, 5 credits to create an HD level project, and say start project. Goes out into the cloud. we are off and running. You have three options. You can do a room wizard. You can upload a two-dimensional floor plan, meaning that if you had from your architect, your builder, your developer, or you went online and seeked out a development down the street that has posted a floor plan or a real estate agent has posted it, you just need to get the JPEG, PNG, or PDF two-dimensional plan, and you can upload it into Floorplanner, scale it to real-world scale, and trace it. Don't have to, but it's very beneficial, and we're going to do one of those exercises in just a minute or two. Or you can start with an empty plan. There's nothing you can't do in an empty plan that you could do in these other two. But let's just take a second. I'll just show you Room Wizard for a second so you know what it is. If you go for Room Wizard, okay, it's kind of a step-by-step sort of way. You're going to pick a shape of a room, and then it's gonna ask you what the other pieces of information are. So yeah, let's say it's just a rectangular room, say next, and then blue line or green line, what are the dimensions in A or B direction? You can modify these, and I want to get 20 feet and change it. Ceiling height. Ceiling height is very important. Wall height, ceiling height, synonymous with each other for a flat ceiling. We'll type it as 10 feet, make it contemporary. And so we've resized this 3D model in a 2D view right now, but here's all the information about it. And say next. Remember those room style boards we talked about at the very beginning? If you had created any of them, they'd be waiting here. So through here, you could actually pick one to apply to the room just by its name or the preview image, because you can assign preview images to them. So if I selected something like this one called Basics, when you select it, it is going to go ahead and show in the 2D plan. It'll fill in that space, and you'll see a little section up here in a 3D view of the same. Well, if that's what we want to do, and I could have hopped through other ones in here, but if that's the one I want, and based on algorithms, it figured out how to fit itself inside this room, and hit start. Okay, we've just started, and we're inside Floorplanner, and there's that Robert today. This is the project. You can only have one project open at a time, and we're there. So if you chose to go this route, you still have full freedom in here to move items, delete items, add from other collections. It's just a very fast, high-speed way to, I'll go to 3D on that, to start creating an entire room from nothing. A predetermined collection, trying to let algorithms place and fit furnishings in here, waiting for your polish to go ahead and refine this to be even better. So there's a button on here I want you to be very careful of up here, and this is probably the only reason I really ever use this. This empty sheet of paper up here in the upper left-hand corner, it's an erase button. It will erase your entire project. It will not delete your project, but it will erase it. And for this function, because I want to get us back to where we were with the three options, I do want to take this out of here. So I am going to erase this project. So that sheet of paper right there, select it, clear the design. Are you sure you want to do this? So it gives you a warning, and I say, yes, it's going to erase my project. Won't delete it, but it erased it. That was the room wizard that we just went through. I'm not going to show you how to do the upload to. We're going to do this a long way, which is not that much longer, but we're going to do for empty plan. So like I said, there's nothing you can't do in an empty plan that you could do in these other two. So let's go for empty plan. Empty plan. So now there's nothing there, and it looks similar, except there's no room already populated for us. So let's get started. Let's talk about what we're looking at here. Starting in the very center of your window, certainly, this is your blank canvas. This is where you're going to build your 3D model. You're going to view your 3D model in 3D, and you're going to view the 3D model as 2D by switching up in here, upper right-hand corner between these two toggles of 2D, 3D, 3D, 2D. The grid and graph paper in the background as imperial dimensions, they're 1 foot squares, 12 inches by 12 inches if you're just trying to do a quick count and eye it up. The crosshair up here is an origin point. There's only one of them. That origin point on one floor, if you build a multi-story project, This is the same point of reference above and below itself between all 7 floors. So if you're trying to align structural load-bearing issues above and below itself, this is a great reference point to pivot to. Although I have other tips and tricks in our advanced tools webinar as to how to build a multi-story project a bit more accurate by duplicating the floor so it's directly above and below itself, and I don't have to be so concerned about this point. Plus and minus, this is zooming in and zooming out. Of course, I'm using a Windows-based PC myself currently with a mouse and a roller wheel in the center, so I'm zooming in and out utilizing the roller wheel. When you're working in 2D or you're working in 3D, you might feel a little lost for some reason. If you hit this bullseye over here, it's a zoom extents button. It will center your project on your screen. And again, 3D also, just hit the bullseye over here and it will center the view that you're working with at that moment. Lower left-hand corner, you can hop between metric and imperial, feet and inches, as much as you care to. There's also a tape measure down here in the lower left-hand corner. When you activate it, tape measure is activated, I can left click and just drag out a temporary measuring device, a tape measure. It's not putting a permanent dimension line on your document. It is just giving you an opportunity to maybe measure from your coffee table to your sofa to make sure the 18 inches is proper, or the size of a neighboring room, etc. To get out of any command inside Floorplanner, we can hit the back button up here, but there's a friendly key on your keyboard, like other softwares. If you hit the escape key on your keyboard, escape will take you out of the command that you're in the middle. If you're drafting wall by wall by wall by wall and you want to stop, or a surface you're creating and like, I need to stop, you can hit your escape key to stop. And we'll do that escape key right now to get us out of the tape measure command. So we're back to neutral. Buttons in the lower left-hand corner, these little icons, hammer for construction or for building, the I for information like text boxes and dimension lines. The object button down here looks like a piece of furniture. Yes, it's furniture. It's all the three-dimensional objects other than the structure of the building, including those T-Rexes and unicorns, and puppy dogs. These are lock buttons. I could lock the structure or lock the objects or lock the dimensions in my two-dimensional plan. You can lock these in different combinations. These were kind of safeties that were put out there. Users request these because they got a little nervous that they might move something by accident. If this is a benefit to you and it gives you a little bit more security, they're available. Personally, I choose not to use them because they slow me down, but they're available for you. Just remember to unlock them if you're trying to make a change. Upper right-hand corner, I showed you how to, in 2D, you were going to see different types of views. Well, these are the selection windows for those. So when we're in 2D, of our 3D model, I could do the black and white line drawing that I showed you, that wireframe drawing. It looks like a black and white cookie up here. The room type determination with the color blocking is this little blue on blue circle in the center. And the full spectrum over here is just that. In your 2D view, it would be showcasing all the materials, your flooring materials and the variants of the materials that you showcase on your objects. 2D and 3D both have additional power tools. And it's in the settings tab right here. It looks like 2 little toggle switches, which is all it is. They are just simple toggle switches. 2D has settings, unique. 3D has its unique settings also. So in 2D, if you go to settings, you have general settings like the grid and the graph paper in the background with the toggle switch up here. You can just turn it off or turn it on, and other settings. Go to the next one, like the objects or the furniture settings, there's a furniture layer. You can actually turn the furniture layer off, turn the furniture layer on, fixtures off, fixtures on, lighting settings, dimension settings, debugging settings, general settings. And again, unique settings also in here for 3D, which we'll take a look at when we go into 3D. Learn these. Don't be afraid of them. Learn them, play with them, see what each one does. But do me a favor. Put them back the way you found them until you get very comfortable utilizing them, because you, like myself, may forget that you turned something off and wonder why it doesn't work anymore. You go, oh, that's right, I turned it off. So yeah, definitely learn these, but for right now. Put them back the way you found them to get really comfortable with them. As I mentioned, you can only have one project open at a time. So if you forget which project you opened, the name of it is right there on top center. You're working in the cloud. Very important to save your project all the time because you're not really technically working on your device. So up here is a save button, but you don't have to do anything with it. That save button is automatic. So we are saving your project every 3 seconds. You'll see that change from a little green check mark to a little gray circle as changes are being made and they're being resaved. So with saving every 3 seconds, you don't have much worry that you're going to lose your work, because if you did lose your power, which we do, and I have, and then you lose your internet connection, which I have, or you dropped your device and broke it into a million pieces, yeah, you will have lost your work if you did not save your project. So the autosave will be a blessing to all of us for sure. If you did something you didn't want to do, you have an undo button. So you can go step by step by step by step backwards to undo. And if you went too many steps backwards, you have a redo button to redo your undos. There's another nice option in here. Maybe, you worked on your project and 2 days later you said, I really liked my project better 2 days ago. I don't like everything I've done. If you select and actually click on the save button, you can go back in time. We started this project 11 minutes ago. I could restore this project to 11 minutes ago. This is going to change to hours, days, weeks. So technically, you could select a different period in time in the past and restore your project accordingly. I don't do this very often, but it's really nice to know that it's available if you need to. The pull-down menu up here, if you're doing a multi-story project, this is where you will have your 7 floors listed in here, up to 7 floors. Pick which floor you want to have activated at that time. Button in the upper left-hand corner, that little icon up there, the house, that's the Floorplanner logo for our company. It's a house, it's a home. If you want to go home, leave the project, and go back to your original dashboard where we started, hit that home button, closes your project, goes back to your dashboard where your projects are stored, your exports are stored, your Styleboards are stored, and there's also the formal location at that page, at your home page, to log out of your Floorplanner account. Last stack of icons over here on the left-hand side starts in the upper left-hand corner with the Project tab. Project tab tells you all about this project and the multiple designs that are here and features of each of those designs. Remember I said you can build up to 10 different designs per floor of a single project. This is where we're going to do that. I know we have an empty plan, but we're just going to build a duplicate of an empty plan for example's sake. There's only one design active right now. We just started a brand new project. It's one design. Maybe I drafted one room in a room furniture configuration and I wanted to show a different option, but not change or corrupt this original one. So I can duplicate this. So in the projects tab, go down to duplicating this design, which is called first design. Hit the duplicate button, it goes out into the cloud, and it builds something called first design copy. We're actually looking at the copy right now, and you can see the designs tabs changed to 2. There's now 2 in there. You can change the name of this copy, duplicate. If I hit the edit details button while I can see which one I'm working on, I could rename it by sweeping over top of it and just call it Bob option 1. Bob option 1. Hit enter to accept the name. And we're done. Let's go back. And there's 2 designs here in Bob option 1. Okay, want to see the 2 designs you created, hit the designs tab. And if we made up to 10 in here, you would have preview thumbnails up to 10 named the way you wanted to, and you could select which design you want to have active at that moment. This is how you're going to hop between all of your designs. Next tab down is the build construction, hammer and wrench over there. This is where we're going to upload a background plan that we talked about earlier, that you had a shortcut for earlier that would take you right here. But it's pretty simple to get to this point. Drawing a room, drawing walls. Drawing a room is fastest way to draft out a room is from one corner to another corner, which will be 4 walls, ceiling and floor all at one time. Draw wall by wall by wall by wall. Maybe it's not 4 walls. You have more than 4 walls in your room and you have angles and such. You can trace wall by 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 wall, close out the circuit and have a multifaceted room. Surfaces are planar surfaces like building a surface of grass or garden pavers or driveways, nice flat surfaces, typically on the ground. Yet surfaces are really valuable when we talk in our advanced tools webinars to take surfaces and use them for other architectural elements. You can raise surfaces above your head. You can change their shape. You can tilt them like a tray ceiling or a gabled ceiling or a cathedral ceiling. And you can also give them thickness. So surfaces, they also accept materials. Very, very nice. Doors and windows, drag and drop the doors. They'll snap inside your walls. Windows, same thing. You can also change the settings on them, width, depth, height. You can also raise from floor for the sill heights on your windows. Structural items, yes, there's staircases, fireplaces, and other structural architectural elements that you can utilize. Next tab down, information. For your two-dimensional plan, you will be able to place labels. You can put text boxes on your two-dimensional plan, as much text as you need to. You can place signs and symbols. There's architectural symbols inside Floorplanner. You can also go ahead and draft lines. Although you're building a 3D model, your 2D view will allow you to draft single lines, thick lines, thin lines, red lines, blue lines, dash lines, for whatever purpose you're trying to communicate in your two-dimensional image. Also in your two-dimensional image, you're going to have automated dimensions showcased all the time. So you can, through the settings tab, turn them on and turn them off, but you can also add your own unique point-to-point dimensions. So you can add your own manual dimensions, as many as you need to, by using this tab right here. Next tab, finally, objects, much more exciting. Yes, ooh, over 200,000 plus generics inside Floorplanner of the general categories. There's many of them. Yes, there's unicorns and puppy dogs right here. And yeah, it's down here with people and animals. Yes, they're subdivided over here, so you can find them a little bit easier. There's so many of them. But there's also the ability to do a search for them. They're categorized in a database with some limited information specific to that item. So try to keep it simple in your search. And certainly sofa is a nice general term to start with. And there's now 53,262 sofas available to you in the general categories class here. You can view this as 2 columns and take the slide bar and keep cruising through here, keep repopulating until you see all of them. And then you could expand this window right here to be 4 columns instead, or change this button here to see 6 columns worth all at one time. So you can really cruise through here visually quickly. You can view these in 2D or 3D. 2D comes in handy certainly when you're doing area rugs. Take that back, retract those for a second. Cool. This is a Boolean search engine. So if I hit a space bar and say sofa space, sofa space, type in an additional adjective like maybe a color, type in white. You get white sofas. You know, we could do coffee table round, coffee table glass, etc. Keep it simple. Don't go too crazy with it. If there happens to be a real vendor name associated with it, it would come up. If there's a specific SKU number, it would also be anything that's associated with this item when it was built will come up to help you find and narrow down your scope of what you're looking for. You can also search in here, let's exit out there, for brands. Now, let's think about brands for a second. If you're a business or enterprise account out there, you may have your own company brand and you have multiple associates with your team selling just your product. So odds are you may be exclusive to be showcasing these general items and only your products to your team. Those of us that are not business or enterprise accounts and not unique to just having one brand, we all, as a floor planner community, have access to all brands as they're equally shared. So you can go through here and find these other companies that are sharing. You can see the quantities of 3D models that are actually in your library. We could go and say, let's look for like Ethan Allen, 4,264 pieces, and go ahead and say, let's see those pieces. These are real, live, current products at Ethan Allen. And cruise through their living room collection, type in the word sofa, you'll see then Ethan Allen sofas. You can search by colors, etc. Brands, another 80,000 plus three-dimensional items that are available too, but this is increasing quite quickly. Not just the brands, but also the manufacturers now coming on board with this. So all available to you. You also have the ability, if you're a Plus account or higher, you can favorite any of these items. So if there was a specific piece of furniture that you liked, and there it is listed over here on the left-hand side, you could hit the little heart up there and you can actually favorite this item to be in your favorites list for future use. And when you want to try to find that again, you would just go to your heart on your items up here. And these are my favorites, my puppy dog and such. And they would be available to pull from your favorites list. Next tab down are style boards. These are those mood board presentations that we talked about earlier. Probably I'll leave this to yourselves to go ahead and explore, because I really want to get into more of a live demo example for an introduction. But do go ahead and build some style boards. I think you'll get the feel of this very quickly. And that when you do ultimately have an empty room created, it's a matter of just finding the style board that you created and dragging and dropping that collection, grabbing those little buttons right there and drag that style board into an empty room. And it will populate that room based on algorithms. Pretty nice. Paints, yes, there are paints in Floorplanner. You can drag and drop these to the walls. Open the assortment of different suppliers. Dulux, European-based company. I think Pure and Original is out in Amsterdam. Benjamin Moore, Sherman-Williams, things we're more familiar with here in the US, and their assorted collections. And once you get into those collections, just drag the material over to the wall and it will paint a single wall. If you hold your Shift key when you drag your paint over to the wall sample, it will paint the entire room. So holding your Shift key and dragging a paint to one wall with the Shift key depressed will paint the entire room. If you don't hold your Shift key, it'll just paint one wall. Yet you're not limited to just these vendors and suppliers of paint. You can Google search any paint company, and in Google, go ahead and put the paint company, put the color from your fan deck, and go ahead and ask Google to tell you its hex number. This is the numeric color mix code of that color. And if you enter it numerically up here and search for it, Floorplanner will custom mix your paint for you. And you can drag and drop it and paint your walls. And even custom mixed paints can be favorited in your favorites list. Materials, which can also be favorited. This is the standard library inside Floorplanner. You have to choose from woods, carpet, stones, tile, wallpaper by collection, outdoor materials, roofing materials, pavers for the garden, grass with daisies, water. Yet you have water that you could build a lake. Yet you have swimming pools. No, swimming pools are actually an object, so you can change the size of them. They have coping, edging around them. So to find swimming pools, you're actually going to go back to objects, and they'll be sitting in there under swimming pools. When you are building your project and you create your two-dimensional plans or three-dimensional camera views, and you're sending them out into the cloud to be rendered, and remember, if you hit the house button up here, home, you'll go back to your home and see your exports. You do not have to do that if you're still in the project. If you're in the project currently, you can actually go down to the Exports tab over here to see just the images you've created for this particular project. They'll be thumbnailed over here on the left-hand side with preview images, titled as you titled, and you can go ahead and click on them to view them, double click and open them, see them. And maybe it's a really bad image and you didn't like it, you can delete it from here. Or if it's a really great image and you love it, you can download a copy from the cloud from here to the device that you're working on. Last button, yay, over here. Help, help, help button. This takes you to shortcuts and hotkeys for your keyboard. Although I do prefer you print out that document from the editor manual, the PDF document. It's a little bit more detailed, and I think you might want to just have that alongside you. This is a little bit more abbreviated. So let's build something. Let's go up to build. Now, again, you do not have to trace a background, but I think you're going to enjoy this, so we're going to use this tool. Let's go for upload 2D floor plan. So if you have a JPEG PNG image of a floor plan somewhere or a PDF somewhere on your device, you're going to go ahead and insert it inside your project. So I'm going to say upload, and I need to find it. Now, to find it, that project I showed you at the very beginning, yes, it was a real estate agent, a real estate professional down in Florida that posted it on their website. And it was that condo, and I took it from their website and put it on my device, and it's still on my computer. So here it is. I'm going to select it here. It happens to be a JPEG and say open it. Little circle goes twirling around while it deposits itself, and there it is. Now, again, no artificial intelligence about this. This is nothing but a giant sheet of flat paper sitting on the ground. It needs to be real world scale. It doesn't know how to be real world scale, so we have to tell it. So to make this 1-to-1, 1 foot equals 1 foot, you need to know the exact dimension from one point to a second point. So if there were dimension lines on here, it would have been from one point to a second point, and you would know what that dimension is. If you had an architectural scaling block on this document from one point to another, you would know what it is. I do not have an architectural scaling block, and I don't have any dimension lines, but this plan is telling me that 11 feet from drywall surface, one point, to the other drywall surface, second point, one point to a second point, it's 11 feet. That's all I need. So to do so, we're going to go over here to the Edit button, Edit, and we're going to select the Scale background. This is your background. We're going to scale it. So hit Scale. It says, hey, draw on the canvas to draw. What it wants you to do is it wants the 2 points. 1 point, second point. So we're going to go over here and click with our cursor, left click 1 point on the actual drywall edge. Go to the other side, to the other drywall edge, second point, 1 point, 2 points, and tell it it's supposed to be 11 feet. And hit enter. Big plan. It has just made this real world scale. Now, being an architect, I'm a little crazy, so I'm going to do it a second time. So if I say scale background again, you're going to notice as the image gets larger, the little crosshairs get smaller and tighter and more accurate. And oops, I put it in the wrong place. You can move these and just line it right up on the drywall edge, a little bit more accurate, point to point, and type it in as 11 feet, hit enter. I tweaked it just a little bit to be a little bit better. At this point, I'm pretty well done. So I'm gonna hit the back button up here, and I'm going to take that tape measure command, lower left-hand corner, and very quickly just drag a tape measure and proof some of these neighboring rooms just to make sure the dimensions are very close to true. Because if for some reason this image was a marketing sheet, marketing sheets and graphics people might be squishing an image in the X or Y direction, and you want to make absolutely sure that the background you're working with, you have confidence that it's true. This is a true plan. It's working great. I'm happy with its scale. It's real world scale, giant sheet of paper, no magic 3D about it yet. So we're good. Well, what's really cool about just putting an image in there, since we haven't even built anything yet, I could do space planning right on top of it. So I don't have to build the walls or 3D model or anything. I can just go right to objects and go shopping and start planning the decor for my room. So if I hit sofa, I can say, hey, I want to go ahead and find a sofa maybe that looks like my client's existing because I have to work around some of their existing product. So you're going to find something similar to your client's existing, maybe a 3 cushion, scatter pillow, exposed leg, oatmeal colored. Okay, sofa. So this looks like my client's sofa. I'm going to left click, drag, and drop it in my plan. That's simple. Now, well, maybe my client sofa, by selecting it, looks like this, but it's not as big. It's not a 90-inch sofa. So if you go to the settings of what you select on the left-hand side, you can change it. And we can change the 3D model. So I'm going to change it to be not a 90-inch sofa, but maybe an 82-inch sofa. Seat on it, make it more of a 36-inch seat instead of a 39-inch. I could even change the height if I wanted to, but the model is done. It's been resized. It may look like that for my client, but it is the exact dimensions of my client's piece or what I'm specifying. Now, to continue doing my space planning, I can select the sofa and I also have these edit tabs up here at the top. I can duplicate this item. I can free scale it, although that's stretching it. I'd rather enter the actual dimensions. You can rotate it both directions 90 degrees. I can flip it left and right. If it had a chaise end on one end and I had to flip it, not a problem. I can delete an individual item. You also have a fin down here on the bottom that you can rotate to something other than 90 degrees. And don't forget you have your undo button up here, so we can hit the undo button and put it back in place. Select the sofa, copy it, duplicate it, rotate it, and put 2 sofas facing each other. Okay, so we're getting a sense of our space slowly. Continue shopping. Maybe I'm gonna look for a coffee table. It's just easier for me to just type it in there than to do too much searching through the sub-classifications. Little round coffee table, drag it over, maybe a little too little. I'll do 2 scatter tables. So I'll select it, make a duplicate of it, 2 tables next to each other. Notice how it's snapping. Things like to snap to other surfaces. If you hold your S key on your keyboard, it will turn off your snap. So let's go ahead and just line those up. And other items in Floorplanner, I love the plants because they, I always wanted to build orchids in 3D myself. They've built them for you. How nice. And you have some general plants. I'm going to take this tropical plant, drag it over. Comes in great when you're doing your accessorizing. If this plant was not an artificial plant of a specific size and dimension, I could change this. So if I hit the free scale on this, assuming it's a natural plant, we can conform nature to actually, work within our space, let it conform to our design. I also want to put in here a bookcase because I want to show you how to accessorize shelves and not a cookcase, a bookcase, excuse me. Bookcase. And I want to show you how to move items around in 3D. So I'm going to take this bookcase, kind of generic, nice plain bookcase. Can't tell which is front or back on that, but I'm going to rotate it anyway because I could always change it in 3D once I'm there. And I want to look for accessories, the ultimate interior designer to do your accessorizing at the end, which is the personalization of a space so your client relates to what you've designed. Lots of accessories inside Floorplanner. This is something as a CAD specialist, CAD operator myself, I did not like to have to do because it's laborious and it takes a lot of time to do so. But Floorplanner's done it for you. So we've got some white paper wrap books down here. I like these. Drag and drop these and just sit them on top of our bookcase. Okay, well, let's just say that's it. If I was done at this point, I didn't even build the 3D models, just on a giant sheet of paper, but it's scalable correctly. It's all real world scale. Furniture's real world scale. The background's real world scale. So let's send it out as an export to do a presentation. I can show it as a wireframe drawing or with the full materials. Can't do the room type because I really haven't drafted a room yet. There's no room. So if I hit export image with the materials on there, we're getting ready to go. Now, as I mentioned, my preference on sending out a two-dimensional plan is to send it out not as a JPEG, but actually as a PDF for all the benefits that I talked about earlier. So let's do a PDF, nice resolution on a PDF, and I just keep it as a landscape view. And I could change a portrait, but we'll say landscape. Letter size, ledger size, architectural C, architectural G. I want letter size. And scale to fit, I could, but it's going to fit as a 1/4 inch scale. So let's do a 1/4 inch scale on a letter size sheet and show a scale bar on it. Okay, all the settings are done. Hit the export PDF button, the orange button. It says, hey, it's been sent out to the cloud. It'll come back to you. Done. Don't have to wait for it. When you get to that point, you can close out of your computer if you wanted to. Go get a cup of coffee, go meet with your client, walk away. It doesn't matter. Go back into your project and keep working. It will complete. It's in the cloud. It'll finish itself out and it'll be waiting for you in your exports, either in your project or back at your homepage when you want to view it later. From there, you view it or review it and download a copy of it to your device if you're happy. If you're not happy and you really don't like it, you can delete it. Okay, so now let's continue. Since I can see where the walls are, I could actually just trace the walls for my 3D room. So let's go over to build again and say draw a room. Okay, I'm going to draw a room. Corner to corner, 4 walls, ceiling and floor all at one time. Fastest way to do this. So first thing it wants to know when you draw out a room is how thick that preview image that comes on your screen is just telling us that the PDF is finished. PDFs do not show you previews, or at least not yet. How thick are your walls? Architecturally, interior partitions here in the United States are 3.5-inch stud walls, metal or wood, 5/8" gypsum board on either side. So let's say it's a 5-inch thick wall. Drywall to drywall. How high are my walls? I'm gonna say they're 10 feet. More of a modern home. That's your wall height. Your ceiling is going to be the same height as your wall height. So it's very important that you get this right. And know that your ceiling is being created automatically based on the wall heights. So keep all your wall heights uniform, same height for that flat ceiling. Advanced tools, we can talk about more complicated ceilings for sure. Raised from floor, walls all start on the ground, which is 0. So we're ready to go. The crosshair over here is going to be the point where we're going to be drafting our wall. And you're always drafting from the middle of the wall, not the edges of the wall. And this little circle trailing behind my cursor out there has a diameter to it, as I told it to be. It's 5 inches in diameter, as it's a 5-inch thick wall. So you can see drafting in the middle of this wall up here, it actually fits. And here too. So I could find the intersection of the middle of both walls and left click and drag a room. 4 squares, 4 walls, 1 square, rectangle. And since I know I'm drafting from the middle of the wall, but I can line up the edges of the wall that I know the area is proper and scaled down there and get it, nice and close to the edges. And notice what happens to the color of the room when I let go. It turned beige, brown, tan. That's a good thing because it means you have a complete clean circuit of walls, closed box, which you always want to achieve. When it's a closed circuit, you will have a floor and you will have a ceiling and it'll turn beige to tell you that you did great. But I missed the dimension. It's supposed to be 11 feet and I missed it by 1 3/4 inch. Ouch. Now, if you select any of the interior dimensions around the perimeter, you can physically move the walls. So if I select the interior dimension and say, no, 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 it's supposed to be exactly 11 feet. Type it in as 11 feet and determine which wall do you want to move. I could take the wall at the bottom and push it upward with the tab on the right. Take the wall at the top, bring it down with the tab on the left. If it's really teeny, I could split the difference with the tab in the middle. But I can see it's a little low down here. So I'm going to push this wall upward with this tab to make it 11 feet. And we are there. So it physically moved the walls to be exactly 11 feet. And if we were doing this even without tracing a background, you could certainly just be drawing a room, and I could just drag out any shape. And if somebody told you, or you took the dimensions, you knew how wide the room was and how deep the room was, same thing. Change this out and say, well, it's supposed to be 15 feet. And I could say up here, it's supposed to be 20 feet. Change that number out there and change that as 20 feet. Same thing. I'm tracing a background because I know this is to scale, but there's no reason why you can't, without a background, actually still build a room and do so. I'll do my undo button to get that out of there. Good. Okay. Well, the great thing about tracing a background, we had this high-speed way of laying out the furniture and doing a space planning exercise, but you can also see where the doors are. So since I can see there's a sliding glass door down here, I can go over here to the hammer and go down to placing doors. And you can view doors with the toggle switch down here to be in 2D or in 3D. And I like them in 3D because you can see where the glazing, the glass is on the doors. Hover over top tells you what it is. Sliding glass doors, I'm going to drag and drop, and it snaps inside the wall all by itself. I can select the door, and I can stretch it. If that's good enough for you, it's good enough for me, and I've got that in place. Or, like we did with the sofa, go to its settings and actually change the exact spec dimensions over here. But for right now, I think I'm happy with this. We're good. We got our door in place. So we got a door. I think I'm pretty well done with my background. Although, in the future, you may come back to this plan and say, well, I wanted to finish out the rest of the rooms. There's no reason why you can't come back to this later instead of just drawing a room. You can say draw walls. If I say draw a wall, still 10 foot high, 5 inches thick, and I can just snap inside this wall here as one point. And every time you hit another click on another point, you're actually making a turn. And the ease of just tracing, it's really nice. Now I can see where the angle is down here, square it off to get to my front door. Just take your time. I mean, literally just take your time and click one point at a time. Think about what you're doing and don't go crazy because you don't want little fragments of walls. You want a nice clean one point to another point. Nice and clean. Notice it's still white inside there. It means we haven't closed the circuit. So when you're done and we rejoin up here, that'll be my last point snapping right there. It turned beige again, yay. Well, this has also been breaking the walls. Whoa, in the middle of a command. Remember that? Hit our escape key. Okay, stops that. Well, it made a breakpoint. So this little fragment of wall that I don't need, I can delete it. And this wall needs to be pulled back. So I can select the wall and grab the endpoint on it and just drag it back. Pretty intuitive. So we've got our room created. Now I'm pretty much done with the background for the moment, and we can go back to it later and keep building other rooms if we want to, but I'm gonna hit my B key, B as in background, as shortcut hotkey, B key, turns it off. Hit my B key, turns it back on. B key, turn it off. Okay, great. So we got a room. Well, let's talk about that room type thing again. So if I select the room, and let's just exaggerate and say this is all living room, because you can always separate this area too with zero thickness walls if you wanted to, but we'll leave it all as one. There's your area. Left-hand side, yeah, sure enough, it says room type is unnamed. Well, if we select that tab, we're going to pick what is this room. I can say I'm a living room, or I'm a kitchen, or I'm a nursery. See, the color codes all change. So we'll keep you as a living room. Labels inside there. We can move the label accordingly if we want to. And you could even go over here and go to the settings. And if I type in living room or primary bedroom or anything else up here, we can change the label. It'll still know its color code as a living room, but you can add some additional text up there. It's also where you can show your surface areas and square footage calculations. It's all in the settings tab over here. So we've identified it as a living room. So now all three functions will work up here. You've got the black and white line drawing, you've got the room type identification, and you've got over here the full spectrum of materials, which let's keep building the materials. So let's in 2D, let's go ahead and place in here some wood flooring. So let's go to our material library and let's look for wood. And inside wood, I have a favorite. So it's a kind of an ash colored. It's called Nordic. And I'm going to take this Nordic Ash Harmony, drag it over and drop. And there you go. We've got a plank floor. The cool thing about the flooring materials is that you can select the room again, and you'll see the material applied on the left-hand sidebar. If you select that material and go to the settings, material settings, you can change some items about this, some features about the material, not the color, but you can change the rotation of the planks. So if I hit 90 degrees, I can rotate them the other direction. And maybe the size. I can change the lengths of the planks right now in its horizontal scale, and I can even change the thickness of the planks with the vertical scale. And you can, designers that we are, choose which plank, now that they're resized, is going to start at the wall surface. Of course, this works big for tile patterns also. So if I go ahead and start moving the resize, I can get the which plank starts actually on which wall. So you can go pretty crazy about this and make some alterations. This works for carpets and other materials also, scale and location, etc. Talk about painting the walls. Let's go down to paint. And I'll go down to Benjamin Moore. Benjamin Moore has multiple collections. Let's go into the historical colors of Benjamin Moore, start going into the colors of blue. And let's just grab this color. Left click, drag, hover over the wall. Which side of the wall do you want to paint? And fill the white dot completely. I'll go for the interior wall, fill the entire white dot completely with the color and let go. If, as I mentioned earlier, if I did the same exercise to paint one wall and held my shift key at the same time, it would have painted the entire room. Right now, we'll just paint the one wall. So we've got that painted over there. There's, oh, it looks so lonely in there. Let's go ahead and go into objects just for a second and just do a search for rugs. And like I said, 2D view for rugs is obviously much better. Can I just drag and drop a rug over here? Oh, there we go. Oh, we have a big rug. Okay. And notice that it finds its natural home underneath the furniture with no problem. And oh, go crazy for a second. Remember those orchids I said that I liked so much? Let's go for orchids and find ourselves in 3D. And maybe find ourselves an orchid plant and just go ahead and drag it and drop it and it'll sit right on top of our table. And we might as well go just a little crazier and find ourselves a floor lamp. Put a couple floor lamps inside there too. There's one. Select it again, copy it, and put a couple floor lamps inside our room. Okay, so let's say this is our decor. We're finished. Upper right-hand corner, we do it as a wireframe drawing. Room finishes. We're finished. So that's your 2D view of this room. Let's hop to 3D. Upper right-hand corner, let's hit 3D. And the bullseye to center it on our screen. Awesome. Okay. Well, again, we have the camera plus sign up here, and we can go ahead and send this out as a dollhouse orbit view. You can see over here, it looks like a bird's nest or an atom, this blue button. Be careful. This is selective to be the dollhouse view or the orbit view on top. Do not try to force this to be your interior view. You actually use the first person button to the right of that. It looks like a little walkthrough guy up there. First person will be for the interior at eye level. But while we're outside, I can use my mouse and I can twirl around the space to study it from different angles. And I can peekaboo inside my windows, yay. There's also a feature that in the settings tab under 3D settings, it's called cutaway walls. And when cutaway walls is turned on, it will turn off the exterior partition walls between your camera and the target point that you're looking at. And this comes in handy for different reasons of whatever it is you're trying to showcase, including telling Bob that he put his piece of furniture in there backwards. Oops. But again, you figure which you want and hit the camera plus sign up here. You can render these accordingly. But I'm going to go ahead and turn that setting back off. and go back to the top view in 3D, which was with our zoom extents button. We're back in place. If I want to go inside this room, I'm going to hit that first person up here, and we're inside. I can use my mouse to navigate aside and around inside the room, and I can use my arrow keys to arrow left, arrow forward, arrow right, arrow back, just to get ourselves into position using my arrow keys and my mouse to figure what kind of view do I want to make for a rendering for presentation. Now, while we're in here in 3D, be it on a computer with a mouse or with a tablet, with my finger, with a stylus, with an Apple Pencil, this is what I really like for the convenience of working with tablets is that I can select an item and I can move it out into space and bring it back. So you can do a lot of decision making while you're in 3D. I can take this item here in the foreground and picking the rug, sorry. And I can take these arrows on the bottom and move the item orthogonally. So being able to do this work, not just on a mouse and keyboard, but with a tablet with my finger or a stylus or Apple Pencil is really, really cool. You can also take items and lift them up in the air and put them back. There's a rotator ring on the bottom that you can rotate it while you're in 3D. The orthogonal move, lift up in the air, but the left-hand sidebar also has all these settings that you had previously in 2D. You can duplicate items in 3D. You can rotate them 90 degrees. You can flip them left and right. You can delete them. You can go to their settings. Inside their settings, if the item allows you to change its dimensions, you can actually change the dimensions in 3D. You can raise from floor a numeric value. You can rotate to a numeric value. You can tilt items, although I don't think there's many items here I want to tilt. So if I had free pillows in there, I would probably might want to tilt pillows, not just rotate them, but tilt and lean them. A mirror, you might want to lean up against the wall, or a beam that needs to be angled in the ceiling. Yeah, visually you can do so. This piece of furniture that I put in backwards, I could use the ring on the bottom, but I can also go to its settings. It's set at negative 180 degrees. I can change that to 0. And it'll flip it all the way around 0, turns it around, and then I can grab the books and put them on a proper shelf. So bring in lots of accessories when you're doing your work. Go ahead and bring them in, bring in little plants, bring in picture frames, bring in books. You can resize them and populate the shelves and do that accessorizing. Move them along the shelf as you want to, and even give them a little crank, a little rotation, just to make them look a little more casual. And finish your decor visually. Artwork also adheres to the wall. So all those decisions you always try to make, you can do them while you're in 3D and resize placeholders of different sizes and shapes of artwork and visually line them up as to the way you want to see them while you're in the 3D model. Okay, well, we're getting close to making this our rendering. So let's make a camera associated with this image. So hit the camera plus sign up here. And of course, we're still in first person over here. It's very important. And we've made camera number 3. Okay, now with camera number 3 selected, and I hit the camera button over here, here is the window for it on the left-hand side, all about camera 3. Now I'm going to get confused after 10 or 20 cameras or so as to which camera is which. So I'm going to go ahead and rename it. So if you hit the edit pencil up there for the camera, I'm going to go ahead and change camera 3 to say living room. And hit enter to accept my name change. Okay, so it's called living room. I'm in the camera. Yes, it's first person, very important. That's the interior perspective, eye level. And eye level, yes, it's pretty good right now, but we could move the camera over here, up and down, and push it back down. You can also change it numerically. So eye level kind of for me is like 5 feet 3 inches. You can do other camera heights, puppy dog height, like 2 feet higher. So there are reasons. It's not just capturing the entire room. Be creative. Go through the magazines, go through Architectural Digest, go through other design magazines and see how the photographers took those special shots. I think you'll be amazed that they're not just full compositions of rooms. There's an artistic flair to taking an image, but you have the power to do all of that inside Floorplanner and to render multiple times with no problem until you get just the right image. So I'm going to say for eye level for right now, and the triangle over here, I can choose the target that I want to look at, upward or downward from that point. You also have a field of view. Be careful with this. Field of view is a wide angle lens like with any camera. If I go ahead and expand it like crazy, it's like a fisheye lens. Yeah, capture the entire room. More is not always better. So you want to keep your field of view as small as possible. Notice that the camera is being pushed forward as the field of view gets smaller, but I want it really small because if you don't, and you have that distortion, not only does it look like a bowling alley, but it also makes the legs of the furniture splay out and bend. You want to keep everything cleanly vertical, and to do so, you've got to keep your field of view small. But since it pushed my camera so far forward, I have to use my arrow key. It won't change the field of view. My arrow key will reposition my camera backwards to capture more of the room, but notice it went right through the wall behind me. So be cautious of that. You've got to make sure that you're still inside the room when you do so. There are other tricks to assist you with that, backing your camera up, but we'll talk about those in our advanced features webinars. But for right now, we're in the room. And for any reason you do these renderings and you're really close to a wall behind you and your renderings come out as solid white or solid black and there's no picture, highly likely you are inside your wall behind you. So you might want to just nudge your camera forward just a little bit with your arrow and then re-render. So we're good. Let's say we've got our image. A few more things we want to do. We want to go ahead and put a little view outside the window and some light. So go to light and scene for our new living room camera. And inside there have some really cool new options. We're still in first person. That's right. Pull down menu. What time of day am I? Am I sunrise? Am I morning? Am I midday, afternoon, sunset? Colors change, obviously. I think we even have stars out there in the evenings. Starry, starry night. Dun, dun, dun. Yes. But we're going to go for morning for right now. Great. And no clouds, light clouds, heavy clouds. We'll go for light clouds. Beautiful. And let's go down to the actual image that's outside our window. Background image, you have some choices through the gallery. You just click on the blue button in the center of any of these to make modifications to it, to change it out. You've got different scenery. Nice. A little more ocean looking. Yes, just have the white and white studio down here at the bottom that will just look very contemporary. There's some people that just don't like views at all, but I do like the views out there myself. So let's say we've got the view, and let's hit the back button, and we're set for morning. That's how high the sun is in the sky, but we want to figure where is the angle that the sun is coming from. So now the sundial in the lower left-hand corner, if you just push the circle, which is the sun, around to see which direction it's coming from, you can move the sun accordingly just by moving that circle and have the sun come in on an angle at that time of day. So definitely do bring the sun inside your room and artificial lighting and recessed cans in your ceiling. The mixture between natural sun and the artificial lighting inside your room is going to make for a gorgeous image. I just happen to know that the sun can be a little strong, and I'm going to just go ahead and advance, take the radiance of this sun and kick it down a little bit. You do have the option with the slide bar here to adjust the radiance of the sun on this side of the glass. So I'm going to kick it down just a bit because I like things to be just a little darker. If your images, when you render them, come out a little dark or they come out a little light, it's subjective, and you can adjust it here and change your settings, update your camera when you're done, and re-render it because you're not limited to how many renderings you're going to create. So you can make adjustments, and as fast as the renderings are coming back, you can make a couple tweaks and really nail down the feel that you want for that room. So I kicked it down a little bit and I've changed all these settings in here. So it's always important at the very end, don't forget, update your camera. Hit that button because you need to communicate this new information about this particular camera to the cloud. So if I hit this as update camera, it says it's been updated, we're done, and we're ready to render. So I can go to the upper right-hand corner, go to the export image button, export image, and I'm going to say let's do the HD level. It's an HD level project that I upgraded. It's good because I want the higher level resolution. It's a hair faster at SD, but for the resolution, I'd wait another second. It's okay. Go for the HD level. We're going to get a nice clean image out of it. 3D, yeah, JPEG image, great. Current angle, no. Current angle is point and shoot. That means you moved your camera around and you said render it. Moved your camera around, you said render it. There's going to be so many reasons as to why you're going to want to go back to the exact same camera view and re-render it, changing lighting, color, materials, finishes. And if you didn't create a camera view, you wouldn't be able to go back to the exact same placement. So we did create a camera view. So I'm not going to do current angle. I'm going to find the camera that we just called living room. And all those associated values that we placed with living room camera, select it so we actually show it. Even though it looked very similar in view, this has the dedicated information in it. So we go for living room and say export the image, and it's done. Again, don't have to wait for it. While that's processing, and we'll go back and view everything we created, I'm going to go to 2D again. Because like I said, you can continue to work with a project at this point. I want to show you how can you upload a custom material to a wall surface. Typically, I talk about this in our advanced features, but I'm going to go ahead and share it with you now because I think it's just so valuable. Because again, being limited with the materials that we have in Floorplanner, there's so much new fashion out there. You want to know how to put your own. So I'm going to show you. You actually in 2D, you pick the wall you want to put the custom material on. So if I select this particular wall over here, the wall will come up on my left-hand sidebar. And there's the preview image that our rendering is finished. Okay, it'll disappear by itself. So this is the wall we're going to put the custom material on. Left-hand sidebar, the wall has two sides to it, inside and outside. Side one is typically the inside, and side two is typically the outside. Side one, side two. Hmm. 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 Let's see if we can prove this correct. Look a little wider, but side one's typically inside. Let's give this a shot. And we're going to go for the front view of that wall. Front view. Front view of that wall, you can still apply colors to this wall through paints. You can supply materials from the materials library, but we're doing uploads. We're going to upload a custom material. You're going to choose a file from your own JPEGs and PNG images and insert them here to then be applied to the wall. This is my library. This will be your library. Don't be afraid to do this. You have trash cans. You can always get rid of something. I think you can start determining the multiple reasons that I do this. There are many clients' artwork, murals, wallpapers, etc. But let's just talk about wallpaper. I have already uploaded a sample here. You would say choose file, it'll be in your library, and then we select it here and it applies it to the wall. Wallpaper. Wallpaper, you want to make sure you have at least an image of your full pattern to repeat. That makes sense. But if you can also get your vendor to give you or find online the seamless sample, meaning that the left edge matches the right and the bottom edge matches the top, so that when it repeats itself across the room, it will marry up and it will look continuous as a pattern. You can do it without a seamless sample, but when the edges do not completely align with each other, it'll look a little boxy. Doable, but looks better with seamless. If you don't get a full seamless sample, but you have the whole pattern repeat, you can determine yourself where the pattern stops and starts, and you could trim the image as simply on your phone if you wanted to, and make your own seamless sample. Well, seamless, this is Seabrook Wall Coverings. It was a seamless sample from their website. And they were courteous enough to tell me how large the sample actually represented in real world scale. So if you know the dimensions also, we can tell Floorplanner that and make an accurate depiction of the wallpaper. Or you're going to eye it up and make the best guess. So I've got the sample, it's a seamless sample, and I'm going to apply it to the wall by selecting it. First thing it tries to do in the pull down menu is tries to fill the entire wall. It's a 10-foot high ceiling. Yeah, no, that's not what I wanted it to do. So if you take the pull down menu, you can go down to free. And in free scaling, much like we did with the plant, I can free scale this wallpaper and start guessing at it, knowing it's a 10-foot high ceiling, where's 5 feet, etc. Well, they did tell me how big the sample was. So I know it's 2 feet wide and 2 feet high. So I'm going to type it in as 2 feet that I know the sample represents in real world, and 2 feet in height also. Okay, sized properly, seamless sample, ready to be repeated. If I repeat it horizontally, it's going to be like a chair rail, vertically like a column, or both direction, tileize it both ways. It'll wallpaper the entire wall. Pull down menu, there it is. Horizontally, vertically, or both. Both. We just wallpapered the entire wall. Done. When this image is looking beautiful and you're done, there is no done button. I'm sorry. There's no done button. There's no I love it button. There's no move on button. I agree button. There's no button. When the image looks correct, kind of counterintuitive, you're actually going to close the window, not the window of your project. You're going to close this window, and it will accept the material. Close it. Wall still selected. Preview image of the material is over here. We're done. Go into 3D. And let's just take cautiously and bend around with my mouse a little bit. And you're going to find out that, yes, in fact, I did put it on the wrong side of the wall. Oh, that was a good lesson. That was good. I had a funny feeling it was on the wrong side because it's now on the outside. Let's go outside for a second. Yep, there it is. The reason why I knew that it was the wrong size is because it looked like it was a little thicker on one because of the thickness of the wall when I went from one side to another. Like I said, typically the inside of the room is side one, but it's kind of the draw order of how you draft walls that determines it. If you draft in a clockwise pattern or if you draft in a counterclockwise. So when we added this additional wall, we were not going clockwise. So let's finish it out anyway. Select that wall again. And let's go ahead and go to the front view. And let's, oops, sorry, remove the image. Cool. Now let's go to side two. And let's go to the front view of side two and do the same thing. From our uploads, let's find the same material, apply it, change it down to free, change its scale to 2 feet by 2 feet. Good learning experience, good example, 2 feet, 2 feet. And let's go ahead and repeat it all across the wall. There we go. Close it out. Go to 3D. Inside the room, turn around. Oh, thank you. And arrow key back, arrow key forward, turn around, arrow key back, forward, back, forward, back. Okay, I'm just using my arrow keys and just putting myself into position. What's really awesome about this is that this wallpaper does not exist in our Floorplanner library. So you can upload anything. And again, if it's a client's piece of artwork that you took a picture on site and you took the measurements, width and height of the piece of artwork, just don't repeat it, scale it, and drag it into position. And you can actually put your client's artwork on the wall surface also. So let's wrap this up. When we're in 2D, since we've created some renderings, over here on the left-hand side, the exports button, while we're in the project, and we're in Robert Today's project, go over to exports. And these are the images that we created previously. There'll be thumbnails all in here. The PDF is the two-dimensional plan we created at the very beginning without even building the 3D walls. So if I select it, I'm going to be opening it in, I think, Adobe on my computer. And there it is, 8.5 by 11 sheet, centering your three-dimensional objects on the room. It's not trying to figure out the image underneath. It's actually centering to quarter-inch scale of these items, and then the rest just bleeds out. Scaling block down here on the lower left-hand corner. So when we go to the actual printer, we make a measurable scale to it that this is quarter-inch scale. And we're done. Very simple when we didn't even build the room. Now, we did build the room and we built a three-dimensional image. I'll double click it. Hey, looking nice. Now remember, I took my light level, my sunshine ambiance down a little bit. I'm glad I did because it's really making our lamps look dynamic. You can select these lamps in 2D also, and you can turn the lamps on and off, and they all have dimmer switches. So make your adjustments accordingly as this plan keeps evolving. But this is an HD level quality. The pixel count looks great. Photorealistic looks great. Shadows are looking good. Yeah, it's we just need to do a little more completion of decor, maybe some skirting boards, baseboards, coving, crown molding, window treatments. Yeah, we can go a little further on this, but I think you kind of get the point as far as we've gone so far. It's a good looking image. We've done well. Let's go ahead and close out this session today with the PowerPoint presentation with some talking points on my way out, some inspirational images that I've created with modeling. Don't forget that you have, over 220,000 three-dimensional categorized items inside Floorplanner objects. And you also have the brands. And they play very nice with each other. You can mix and match them. So if you're trying to build something that doesn't exist in Floorplanner, remember you can resize from multiple collections, put them together and kind of make a composite of something else if you needed to. We talked about multiple designs earlier, and there's other reasons to do different layouts and designs. This particular image had a dining room table in front of it, chandelier and stuff, but I didn't want to show the other room. So I duplicated the original design, then I deleted the dining room table and the rug and the chandelier just to get this image in place. So duplicating designs can be specific for just camera views. Same thing here, we're talking about keeping things nice and linear and vertical. This image, when I got nice and linear and vertical by making my field of view so small, pushed my camera way up to this bar stool. I needed to come way back to capture the room. When I did, yes, I slammed into the wall behind me. So making a duplicate design, I didn't have any possibility of damaging the original design that I created. And the copy, I dragged the wall that's behind the camera right now about 50 feet back to put my camera further back, but keep the field of view very small. That way I captured more of the room. Very important to drag a wall out. You can't see that I did that just for the camera view, but dragging the wall out allows the material of the floor to extend and the ceiling to extend the entire length, an additional 50 feet or so, so that I don't flood the room with natural light, or if I deleted the wall, I would lose the floor and I would lose the automated ceiling. So stretching walls is really cool, but just do it so you can't see it. I stretched the wall behind me and then placed my camera accordingly by using multiple designs. Having the ability of actually moving items around in 3D, huge. I mean, how could I make all these decisions as to what goes on what shelf, how do you going to rotate it, artwork, and how do you place it on the wall? Did all the work in 3D. And again, a great advantage of having those tools and those handles on the 3D items. Adding additional trims, European-based program. These are called skirting boards on the bottom. You'll find them as skirting boards. They are also base boards here in the US. What we call crown molding in the US at the top is called coving. Also adding light switches. We have light switches in Floorplanner. It gives you a little bit more of a psychological sort of, yep, it's a real room. Natural sunlight, bring it in. You can see the cast shadows. Mirrors, lovely. Be careful, mirrors will tell on you if you didn't complete your decor. On the other side of the room, you're going to catch it in the mirror because those mirrors do function properly. Lights, lamps, turning them on, off, dimmer switches to make a better sense of realism. About lights, can lights, recessed can lights. There are many of them inside Floorplanner. If you look up, there's one vendor in there called Absinthe, Absinthe. They have some really nice contemporary lights inside there that I like to use. And what's really cool about that collection is that you can resize. So if I wanted like really small hot pucks up here of 2-inch diameters, you could resize them or make them more old-fashioned, more like the 6-inch old traditional hi-hats. Last image before we close out. Good image. Captured the whole room, did all the tricks that I just mentioned, has a skirting board and crown molding is coving at the top, lots of recessed can lights across the ceiling, get them closer to the wall, make nice triangles of light. I do need to tell on myself with this because I missed an opportunity and I don't want you to miss it, is that I have this really rich dark mahogany and ebony floor here in the foreground, very handsome. And yet I also have this really great old Tudor diamond pattern, diamond mullioned window. What I missed is I should have directed the sun to come through this window and made a casting of diamonds of sunshine on this really dark wood floor in the foreground. And those diamonds of sunshine would have rolled across this rug and would have glistened as they would have captured on this polished brass side table and the arm and side of the chair on the brass and the navy velvet. Really missed it. This would not have changed my design, my furniture, my selections, my materials, but it would have made for a much more artistic image. It would have been more interesting, it would have been more captivating, and my client would have related to it, and maybe a little more wow factor because of the artistry of the image, not just the composition and selection. So take advantage of all the tools that are available in Floorplanner, and it doesn't take that much additional time or effort. Um, it was a missed opportunity for me. I should have done it. Maybe I'll go back someday and actually do this. But take advantage of the sun and use it appropriately and adjust your light levels to get just the right feel for the room. Allow the platform to be all that it can be, and then re-render. For the speed of the rendering coming back, it certainly doesn't take that much additional time to make a better image, a better first impression, and inspire your client from the very start. We do have additional training sessions. Yes, there's the advanced tools webinar that we also offer that is on Tuesdays live. You can register for that. Many other items we have yet to talk about. We're also going to make another recording of that for you for here on our Floorplanner channel on YouTube. And well, the basic mission statement of Floorplanner, since 2007, making space planning and interior design accessible to everybody, keeping it simple, to keep our platform extremely user-friendly, very intuitive, simple toggle switches, simple icons to select. The elaborate technology and the magic that's happening is really happening behind the scenes, behind the curtain over in the Netherlands. The programmers are doing masterful work electronically to make this happen for you to create those gorgeous renderings while we're still keeping it simple on your side. Our intention is to keep the platform user-friendly, simple. We have a lot of advances that have occurred recently and are on the books to be occurring throughout this year and continuing. And our intention as we keep going forward is to not make Floorplanner turn into a complicated platform. We will continue to keep it simple. We will continue to have these training sessions for you to give you a little guidance. I say a lot of words about what we're doing, but I want you to have the opportunity to hear it all once clearly, and then give you enough guidance to get you started. And I think you'll just roll right into the fact that it is a very intuitive program as you utilize it. And our intention is to keep it that way. We don't want to be another complicated software with 700 filters trying to make a gorgeous image. We're making gorgeous images with minor decisions on your side. So emphasize your design and be inspired to take it further. So I hope you enjoyed your floor planner introduction and demo, and I do hope it's inspired you to go further with floor planner, and that it's answered some questions that you may have had previously. In case I missed anything for you, you can drop me an email at bob@floorplanner.com. I typically support our pro level subscriptions up through enterprise. But if you're a basic or a plus account holder out there and you have a quick question that maybe I can just answer in an email, I'll get that back to you. So you can always reach out to me. Otherwise, I hope to see you in the future, possibly at one of our live webinars, or keep an eye open here on the Floor Planner channel on YouTube for future recordings as we will keep updating and giving you additional information. Appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you in the future. Take care. Have a great day. Thank you.